I mean, if it's not, it's approaching that level. If it's not going to be there, this isn't going to go away. This is going to be a running joke for a long
He
time.
might be all right though.
He might be, but I hope he is. I hope he gets help and works on his insecurities and all that shit because this is wild.
Well, he announced he's going into therapy, but who knows what that means?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't strike me as I don't know. I can't say that. I was gonna say he doesn't like he wouldn't say something and then not do it, but it was like or like he wouldn't be less than honest. But then again, he's done that a few times. So never. I was like, oh, I can't say that. Never mind.
He's typical Hollywood.
Yeah.
Or like old school Hollywood, where like you're putting on a face all the time and no one knows what the fuck you are.
You know what? That's probably what it is. He's just not. He's not used to this level of exposure. He's probably like, oh, if I say it on social media, like I'll be able to control the narrative because that's
yeah,
what
but they already
he's
put all
used
their,
to.
but they already put all their business out there by doing those fucking table talks.
Yeah. I think he was doing it to try to get up in front because like, oh, they're gonna say something anyway. Let me get out in front of it. But then like
Also,
he wasn't ready for people like following like.
Well, him not
Michael
apologizing
Stubbs.
to Chris made it exponentially worse.
That's what really.
And then
pissed me
using
off.
God and then like
Yeah, that's what. That I was gonna this my simmer was fizzling out.
you need to
I was
control your insecurities.
like, oh yeah. I'm super insecure because I hate when like one of the things that
the
upsets
vessel
me
of
the
love,
most.
like his speech
Yeah.
was just weird as shit. And if he had like said, I want to apologize to the Academy, like my fellow whatever, and then
Yeah.
like he said, like especially like Chris, like that was uncalled for. It's like I hopefully I can see you after this and I can like,
Right, and see,
And then if
this
he
is
did
the
that,
whole
then
fucking-
like everybody would just be like, "Oh wow, that was a crazy wild moment. That was wild," and we would all just like laugh and been on with it. But instead, he was like,
I still would be upset about
"I'm
it.
not going to apologize." To
Yeah, I was still upset. I would have still. I'll be honest. I'll still be.
but it'd
upset
be one of
about
those
it
things where you're like, "Yo,
because
that was wild," and then that's
it would
it.
have. But like this is because like this is what I teach to my kids. It's like when you fuck up, you have to try to make up for your mistake. You have to try to fix things. You have to try to make things better. You have to apologize
Rectify.
for what you did, rectify the behavior, but for the future. But understand that in that moment, what you did, you broke it. Like you fucked it up. Doesn't matter how well you put it together. The cracks in the shit is still gonna. I think there's a Chinese thing that proverb that's like that. Like when the vase is broken, you glue it together with gold or something like that. Where it's like the cracks are highlighted. Like it's there. You can't erase what you did. Like you're rectifying your behavior here on out. You could be the perfect person. Those cracks in that vase still exist. That still happened. You can't pretend like that didn't happen. So I would have been more upset if people started because he apologized, like, oh, pretend like it didn't happen. But I'd be happy that he asked for forgiveness and stuff like that. But what really pissed me off, like his whole acceptance speech was just like. I was super insecure. I was getting triggered. Every word.
Well,
I
the
was
thing
like,
is, I was thinking when I was hearing this that probably was a planned speech.
Yeah.
Or at least, like-
maybe, but man, let me tell you, holy shit,
Hear
man.
me out for a second.
Okay,
Before you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because normally you gotta calm me down.
Yeah.
I'm pretty mellow.
My bad. All right.
No, I think that he had like, not like a planned speech, but like at least like an outline.
Idea of what he
Well, the
wanted to
King Richard, he's got his family, I got my family.
do. Yeah.
You know, I think he's talked about God before. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
he's not
he
like
has.
he's not like a person that doesn't talk about God.
Right. But that's not what I'm upset about.
But I'm saying, I think because of that situation that happened, and then he's now like he won it, and then he's in the situation, and then he already had like you have to give your speech because you win.
Yeah.
And because he knew that he was like a front runner, he had like this thing in his head, and then he had to like piece together.
Okay, go ahead.
And he had to piece together like the little elements. It's like, oh yeah, you know, just like Richard, like, you know, love can make you do crazy things. So he's trying to like work it all in, and just because of what he did, now it makes his speech look fucking like insane, batshit crazy. Which I think he might have already had that like speech kind of down, and then he had to kind of like just pull it all together at the end.
Okay. I'm okay with bumbling around, like trying to transition what happened
he
and
bumbled.
manifest it into. Yeah,
You could tell like he was kind of like
he was
where the fuck am I
up.
going?
Yeah, like the violence that he exhibited on stage was still present. Like it was like he was tearing them apart. So it's like
you could tell he's trying to piece it all together.
Yeah. So like, I'm happy that he was reflecting on it in that level. I know that I've heard him talk about God before, and like, but
using it as an excuse for violence was absurd.
Exactly. See, that's my thing. My thing is like the one of the things that I've like railed against, like every fiber of my being is like people being less than truthful, like being less than honest, and hiding behind these crutches, like, oh, I'm black, oh, because God got me.
I think he was just trying to pull it all together and like make the connections and justify
exactly
in the moment, because like he didn't have the opportunity to plan it out in his head.
He tried to justify him doing what he did. That was what was disgusting. I would have had way more respect for him. I would have had an infinite amount of respect for him if he had gone on stage. Because I'm trying to think, like, what could he have done? Said like this, I would still be fucked. I would still been upset. No. But
unless he would apologize. But outside of that,
if he went up on stage and he's like, "Thank you so much. I don't deserve this. My behavior was atrocious. Sorry for Chris Rock. Sorry for everybody. Can't accept this. This is something that the best actor leading up to this was this person. I'm happy. I want to give it to the film or whoever is responsible for the film and the backdrop, the director, the producer, whatever. Because it's like me myself, because of my behavior, because of what I did, I can't do this because I didn't exhibit myself appropriately. I didn't like King Richard was someone who defended his family, who did this, who believed in something impossible. I'm over here living an impossible life for someone in my situation, something like that, and just like bowed out gracefully and left the Oscars at that point. Infinitely, I would have had infinite respect for this man. He didn't do that. He did the opposite. What he did, he tried to justify him humiliating Chris Rock on stage.
He was just trying to play like
fuck. Okay, like, go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you saying? What was you trying to do?
You have great self-control. I know you well enough to know what's really going on. I think he was trying to play like, like 52 card pickup. Like he's just picking up pieces and like saying shit.
Yeah.
And then like obviously after the fact, it's like, yo, that was horrible.
Yeah, I know, right. But when
I'm trying to be a vessel of love.
Yeah, okay. This fucker, man. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I bet that was his speech.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm not.
He had his speech. He had to go out there, and he had to fumble his way through it while keeping his speech down because.
But he could have still done that.
He already practiced it, so he's like, it's there.
The disgusting thing about what he did in the apology speech is that he tried to.
But I'm saying if you're trying to reiterate what you had already planned, and that just happened.
Right, but
it's not gonna fit right.
Yeah, but like this is what I mean by like a strong.
Because you're just saying things.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And like, I'm not against him saying. In fact,
all the bullshit he said, I don't think he was. It wasn't thought through. It wasn't like this is really gonna help. Like he was just like he was just saying things.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to pick apart the semantics or how he said it, but it's just that the core element, the underlying tone and the theme of like what he was trying to say
and everything like that.
Fuck all that. I don't think so. I think he was trying to validate what the fuck he did. And that's because he could have made the same speech and like a strong man would have been able to be like, I fucked up, but here's the speech and touch on all those things without trying to validate himself. But he went up there
because he was trying to justify it because it
exactly. So fuck him. That's the most insecure, weak bitch, pussy nigga shit that I've ever fucking seen in my life. And this guy who's larger than life is doing that shit. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? That's what really pissed me off. I'm sorry. I was just like, I hope he addresses it. But I was like, that was the most bitch ass. And then you invoke.
No, but yeah, see, he had like 10 minutes.
I know, and he was talking for a good.
Yeah, you have to remember, like it was like best documentary, and then I think he was up. Like
Yeah, but he had slapped him. There was
No, I'm saying,
intermission.
he had 10.
Denzel Washington talked to him.
No, but it was like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, Medea.
Medea.
Shit, man.
Tyler
I
Perry?
wasn't trying to do that. I wasn't trying to promise. Tyler Perry came to talk to him.
The transvestite.
Yo, like he had time to process it. He was talking to people about it.
You don't have time to process that shit. Because you have to remember, like, his mind's... I'll defend him a little bit on this, because his mind's racing, like, all over the place. Like, what am I supposed to do?
But he, like, my
because you already fucked up.
Okay, but you
and
fucked
now
up.
You're,
Instead of justifying it, admit that you fucked up. Fess up. Don't be a bitch. Don't try to cow out of it.
But he's... There's so much at play. His career, and there's other things, like...
Exactly.
But you're not thinking about it, man. If you're
maybe I'm not. I'm not in that. I'm not in that space. I'm not. I don't understand. It's outside of my world.
Because you wouldn't hit somebody.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Especially not for some shit
so
like that.
So you know that if you accidentally did, you'd be like, "Oh shit,
yeah,
my bad."
Yeah, but then that's what exactly. Oh
but
shit, my bad. There's nothing in that speech that was like, "Oh shit, my bad."
That's what I'm telling you. This is where me critiquing the insecurity thing arises, because there's so many other things at play that are going on in his head.
Okay.
So I don't know. That.
I don't know what else could be going on in his head.
But people do that all the time.
Yeah.
They get in trouble, and then they're like, all right, like, what do I do to salvage this situation?
Yeah,
and
right.
the immediate. Now, if you gave that same person like 3 days to respond, they're gonna be like, like, I gotta do this. Like, you start planning it out and thinking all of it through, and what are the different avenues. If you've got 5 minutes and you got to go up there and potentially give a speech, you're not thinking like, what's the best way? Like, you're just like, well, God, I just did that. I gotta figure out how I justify doing that. That's nuts. Why did I do that?
But that's bitch ass behavior. Like, instead of like, because like anybody who I've ever cared about, if I ever crossed the line, like my immediate go-to
this is like an
like,
industry
thing. My bad.
This is an industry thing.
But
it's the industry mindset. Like, he didn't do this at like a cookout. Like, he did.
Yeah, so I'm attacking that kind of mindset. The fact that he felt the need, and then instead of
because everybody's doing that.
Yeah,
Matthew
so fuck everybody.
Like, we've talked
fuck him then if he does that shit.
No, but I'm not saying he would hit, but I'm saying if he...
No, not that, but if he justifies...
up in some way, he's... No. You're mad at how he did it. Of what I'm saying, anybody that's... Most people in any type of industry like that, where it's like all about your image.
Yeah.
You're playing damage control. You're not necessarily doing what's the best thing to necessarly do.
This is my thing. When you play damage control, and maybe
I'm just gonna
like
go back and I need to reflect on myself, right? Because
it's fine. Go do that.
No, but it's like, bullshit.
Yeah, I know. So
I'm saying that's the statement he gave like 2 days later.
Yeah.
He gave the measured, correct response with every.
But I didn't like that.
Every box, but that's what everybody does. That's my point.
I know, but I don't like. I think that's what's fundamentally
like
messed up about.
You like to party and you have a good time and you drink, and sometimes you're gonna fuck up because you're in this kind of type of limelight and you've got all these people looking at you. What happens? I just need to go back and I reflect on what I've done. But you're still gonna keep partying.
But admit that mistake, like the spirit.
But it's bullshit because they're not really sorry. They're just like, I'm partying. This is what happens when you party. Right. I don't even really need to apologize, but I have to apologize.
I would respect that person infinitely more than the person who's bullshitting.
Because that person had measured time and has a lawyer and a publicist, and they got
but I'm saying
statement out.
I'm saying I would respect, because I don't. This is statement. I don't even like fuck that. Like
that's my point. Is that you have to look at what Will Smith's head is at. Is because he's constant. Or I'm not saying this constantly because I don't know him personally, but like he's spending so much time for years to appease other people and get them to like him, because you need you're trying out for that role. Or because they like you, they're like, hey, this is a great movie. It looks like a blockbuster. We can get Will Smith. Let's ask Will Smith and send him the script. So it's based off that. So his mindset isn't like, it's how do I rectify and fix this? Because that's the first thing that's coming in that moment.
Yeah.
Days later, he might actually really feel bad and be like, man, I shouldn't have hit Chris. That's fucked up. But within 10 minutes, he's like, fuck, that just happened. what's going on? I think I'm gonna win this thing. I have to give a speech. What do I say? And then Denzel's like, hey, you can just calm down, man. Like, because some people were talking shit about them, and I was like, in that moment, I could understand it if you like were like, hey, like,
if you see somebody do some wild shit, like, yo, nigga, you're like, yo, relax, like you're not gonna make a judgment right then and there on what they did. They're already like, if you
because I think Schultz was saying that, didn't he?
Oh, did he? I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not.
People were saying like, yo, like, what the fuck, like.
I'm not gonna judge somebody who goes like, you see somebody do something fucked
especially
up,
if they know the dude.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody has a friend who
Denzel knows Will Smith. They've been in Hollywood forever.
Right.
Decades.
So it's just like, hey, like, here's some piece of advice. Pick yourself up. Come on, let's do this. But it's not like my what
that's
I'm
my
upset
point
about,
is that the whole thing was like, get through this.
Right. I don't like the knee jerk reaction. Like I'm.
What do you expect him to do?
That's why I give him to be a man.
No,
I expect him to be a man because that's who he was to me my entire life. So I expect.
Yeah, but you're putting him too much on a pedestal.
Right. Which is what I want my kids against because I was just like, oh, this is what I did and this is what this guy did. 30 years later, whoopsies.
But what I'm saying in that moment with everything that was happening.